So, today we're going to get a little bit more serious. I just want to talk about mental health. Mental health is so crucial to each of us being an individual, and sometimes living is not easy. It's hard functioning every day, waking up, trying to find the positives when you just want to be negative. And I have to say that you have to find a way to be your own cheerleader, to where you're telling yourself, shit could always be worse, shit could always be worse, but you're trying to dig yourself out of a hole and you don't know why. You're the one holding the shovel that's digging it deeper and deeper and deeper. So why is it that we're the ones that put ourselves into this premature grave? Today, the topic of our show is mental health. And I'm happy that you guys are here to sit and talk about it because it's something that most people are too afraid to address and talk about. I just want to say I'm grateful for my husband.
Thank you, babe.
Who has always been here for me. And there's been times in our relationship I have to tell him where I'm frustrated, I'm overwhelmed, and he's trying to be assertive one way or another that I have to literally tell him, you have to respect my mental health. So what does that mean? What does that really, truly mean?
Well, this topic's really difficult for me personally because I have mental health issues and my wife does too. And I think that it comes with the stress levels we have, with creating this environment that we do every day. And this environment for our employees and not just that, for ourselves. Like, we have to really help each other get through the days a lot. And just so you know a little bit more about my wife and I run a business in Arizona. She runs a business in California. And we are apart a lot. And it's really difficult for me. I've always dealt with anxiety. I've always dealt with stress in really bad situations and at really bad times. I've dealt with depression, massive depression. In fact, that I'm not afraid to talk about it.
John didn't even drink. So when we first got married, John didn't drink.
No.
He'd never smoked a cigarette, never tried drugs, nothing. And that was one thing that really attracted me to you.
But he had a permanent DD.
No, but
she teases
it's
me
true.
about that all the time,
I'll
though.
joke about that. But John never drank the first 5 years that we were married.
Right.
And then we started our business, and it really, really, really sucked our soul in so many ways to where it changed both you and I.
Well, I think when you have the stresses of other families at your hand, you really have to make sure that you're making the right decisions, and you take it to your heart and soul and ask yourself, is this really the right decision for our employees and for their families and their children? And
yourself, and you come last.
Right. Absolutely.
And you come last.
You come last every time.
What do you do when you know that you're the one holding that shovel, digging your own grave? And then when I say you holding that shovel, it's because you are the only person that is responsible to make yourself happy. Mm-hmm. So what do you do to get yourself out of that? Do you drink? I mean, I drink champagne because I like champagne, but I don't drink champagne because I'm depressed. So I really want to make that very, very clear. It's more of an upper for me than a downer. But what do you do to get yourself out of that funk to where you start falling into a pit? You're giving the best of yourself to your clients, your employees, your coworkers, your friends, your spouse. Actually, sometimes I feel like normally your spouse comes last. And I'll be the first to admit that whenever I feel super shitty and I'm overwhelmed, I'm depressed, I take it out on John. And he takes it out on me. And that doesn't mean that it's okay, but that means that we both have to acknowledge that because we love each other.
But that also means that you have to know that that person still loves you. I mean, I think that's what goes with a long-term relationship. You learn these things that they're not saying it just to try and fuck you up.
No.
They're saying these things because they are really messed up and they need your guidance to get through it.
I tell him.
And it's hard to really understand that because you're probably going through the same stuff yourself. And you just have to know. Here's I think what I do, and I will tell you that I'm the worst. I had a really bad childhood. I had a really bad upbringing and everything. I mean, I've been on my own since I'm 16 years old. I lived with family to family to family. Same with my wife, and I think that's why we have this amazing bond of survival, and we respect each other's mental health that much because we've been to the dark side. We've been through the shadows and come out in the light, and it's easier said than done. But what has to happen is we can't think about the right now. We have to think about the overall picture of what we're trying to accomplish. You have to think about your future. You have to write your goals that you want to achieve. You need to get out of what's today and think about tomorrow in order for you to survive the right now. And it's a really fucked up thing for me to talk about because I suffer from depression. I suffer from all these things that we're talking about. And you know what people tell me is they tell me don't talk about it. And to me,
you have to talk about it.
To me, it's the most important thing to talk about because I know I'm not alone. I know that there's so many people in America that are jailed to this society that are fighting for the same survival I am every single day, and they're too scared to talk about it. Just like sexuality, just like all these other things that we shun on this continent. So I'm a part of this thing. It's called the Phoenix Foundation in my local area, and we talk about death, suicide.
I'm looking up a phone number. And I'm not trying to be
they're
rude
not.
to everybody.
They're not a paid sponsor of this show, just so you know. But they talk about death, stuff like that. But we raise money for these people that suffer from these accidental deaths or tragic incidents. What's the word?
Unexpected loss.
Unexpected losses in their lives. And you know what? I was running this campaign to raise money, and I did quite well. I think what did I get? Second or third place. But anyways, I raised a shit ton of money for this foundation, and so did many other great leaders in my community. But I was mainly shunned off of suicide, and to me, that's the most relevant thing because that is the most hidden disease in America and probably around the world. And it's the biggest thing that needs to be unraveled and talked about most. Being a sports star, being a business owner that's in the highlight, being anybody, an actor, being anybody that's in the spotlight, it's really hard for them to grasp reality when shit really hits the fan. But it's not just them, it's the people that are down below too, and they're trying to find the ladder. They're trying to build this ladder that's going to be stable enough to get them on the next level that they need to be at just to survive in their own mind.
But no one is going to prop you up.
No. You have to find your own way out.
You have the shovel in your hand. You are digging your own grave.
Yes.
Some people may disagree with that. This is my perspective wholeheartedly. But each of us are absolutely in control of our own happiness. I do not rely on John to make me happy. Not for 1 second.
And
I'm not saying
a lot of times rely on her.
I'm not done talking.
Okay.
I don't rely on him to make me happy. I'm saying that not in a derogatory way. I absolutely love my husband. He brings me happiness. But I don't rely on him to bring me happiness, if that makes any sense. I have learned I am my own worst enemy. I am my own worst critic. I can fly off the handle with any type of criticism, any type of negativity whatsoever, but it's because I'm really hard on myself.
It's because you really care.
It's because I really, truly care. So what do? I have found amazing outlets in my life. I have found that I can't surround myself with negative people. There is this theory, and it's true based on science, that if you surround yourself with moldy fruit, you become moldy. If you put a piece of moldy fruit next to a piece of healthy fruit, the healthy fruit becomes moldy. Basically, you become what you surround yourself with. So if you are surrounded with friends or family, dare I say it, family, that is making you negative and making you feel like shit, it is time to find another support group. And that's okay. You have to understand that if your support system is not necessarily the most healthy support system, you have to make a difference, because you have to love yourself more than you love anybody else. And a lot of people will disagree. They'll be like, no, you need to love your kids more. You need to love your spouse more. You need to love your coworkers more, your employees more. But let's be real. If you don't love yourself, there's
nobody else.
You're truly not loving anyone.
So this episode might go a little longer than normal, because this is really something that is dear to my heart and to Devynn's heart, because when you go into situations and you are responsible for all of these things surrounding you, and one bad decision can poison the fruit, that's a lot of stress.
It is.
But you know what I have found is that my boys on social media and my girls on social media, they've really helped me see light a lot of times when I see darkness. My people that love me, they're giving me love, and I thank you for helping me through my hard times, because I reach out. And
that's not true.
You think I hold it in a lot? I do hold it in a lot. And
this guy doesn't reach out, and I don't reach out either. Each of us are way too afraid.
Have our own battles, right?
We're way too afraid to ever admit for 1 second that we're fucked up.
Right.
All of us are afraid to be like, I'm a human being and I feel vulnerable and I feel insignificant or whatever.
Right.
You know, you guys may see OG Plum God of Instagram, who has such an amazing energy and amazing persona. I mean, believe me, this is absolutely the man I fell in love with. I fell in love with the person that John is because he always brings me up. But it doesn't mean that he doesn't have a downside. And it doesn't mean that I don't have a downside either. I have a side of myself to where, for some reason, I have no idea why, I'm upset and I'm disappointed in myself for things that I can't control. But at the end of the day, like, I have a great husband. I'm talking.
Oh, yeah, I know.
I have a great husband that stands behind me when I'm shitty and stands behind me when I'm great. And if you don't have that kind of support system, I'm not saying divorce your spouse. I'm just saying find something positive in your life. Find something that lifts you up to where you know this life is so absolutely worth it.
No, I will say divorce your divorce.
Divorce?
Yes. If that person's not supporting you and loving you, then
So what if I told you you weren't supporting me?
I find a way.
Okay, then that's the right answer.
I find a way.
You have the conversation first.
Yes.
Okay.
And I will definitely say that I'm not the perfect person, but I will say
I'm not perfect either.
I will say that I know when my wife's vulnerable, and I know when I need to try to pay more attention than not, and give her space, and I really need to listen to her. And when a man speaks to a woman, it's kind of like foreign language sometimes, and we got to read other signs and whatnot. But realistically,
it's any relationship.
It is any relationship. But we want to tell you that, you know, there's people out there that will support you and that will love you, and don't feel like you're alone in this dark place,
alone.
and that you have no other outlet, and you don't have anything on your side, because there's millions of people that are in the same position and feel the same way, and they have the same demons. And
you're not alone in your feelings of feeling fucked up.
Right. And we will be firsthand to tell you that we are there. Give me your hand.
We're a crazy town.
We are crazy town.
But we're a united front, and we both know that with emotional distress, with psychological issues, family trauma, stuff like that,
right.
We have moments where we want to give up. We have moments where we feel like we're not enough. Mm-hmm. But you have to know that you are so worth it. And if you are ever having a feeling of letting go, if you have suicidal thoughts, there is always help. You have to talk to somebody. We all know in the service industry, you are giving 100% of yourself, to where it's almost like you're Joaquin Phoenix from the Joker. You are giving everything to these people that aren't deserving of it. And you feel like the world is poisoned. I mean, how many times have we come home and we're like, oh my God, I hate people. People are the worst. Like, you're giving everything. You're giving your best.
That's one thing that's gotten me since I've been a business owner. Reality with people, it's really messed me up. It really has. And I'm not afraid to say it. Most of the time I hate people. And that's why I go to a false reality a lot of times. And sometimes that you need that escape.
Well, social media can be a false reality.
It is. And that's what it is for me, is it's an escape from my reality. But I just want you guys to know you can always hit me up if you ever need to talk about anything. It doesn't matter what it is. OG Plum God on Instagram.
I also want
John Thompson on Facebook. But
I want to give out the National Suicide Prevention Hotline. That is 1-800-273-8255. If you ever feel disappointed, like you don't have anybody, please call the Suicide Prevention Hotline.
Do not feel ashamed.
Do not feel ashamed. Once again, that is 1-800-273-8255. Believe me, you are so absolutely valuable. You have so much to offer the world. We really can't thank you guys enough for listening to us being vulnerable. I mean, we're human beings. We're not going to sit here and try and pussyfoot around shit and try and pretend like we're these people that don't have problems and this is our YouTube channel. Like, this is our real life. You know, we're not perfect.
We're fucked up.
But we try to be the best versions of ourselves that we can. So next week, tune in and learn how you can be better. And once again, if you need help, reach out. OG Plum God on Instagram. I am Devynn.Thompson on Instagram. You guys can also hit us up on the Mechanical Hub page on Instagram. Please make sure you're tuning in every week on YouTube, Mechanical Hub. Have a great week.
Thanks, guys.